This is video 9 in the series on Agentic Retail Operations. We get to see another impact of Agentic AI together with retail standards under the Association for Retail Technology Standards, ARTS, umbrella. This video will focus on the POS procurement process. I am the Wizard of POS, and this video is brought to you by ShopVisor. The Agentic Retail Operations model is based on 5 layers, starting at the bottom with the data layer. POS log event streams and records transaction telemetry. At the device layer, the unified POS devices align hardware control. The transaction layer, ODM, the data model, provides semantic consistency. At the intelligence layer, the expert systems, RAG, and the domain rules. And finally, at the execution layer, automation workflows, scoring, and recommendations are the output. This layered architecture ensures consistency across procurement, deployment, and operations. So let's start with phase 1, the requirements discovery. The inputs to it are the retail segment and store formats, the transaction volume and performance expectations, the device mix, the scanners, the printers, the pin pads, the kiosks, and mobile POS. And then the various integration points, the order management system, the ERP, the loyalty, payments, and digital channels. So Agentic enhances this with an auto-generated requirements matrices based on all of that, targeted to the particular retailer. It has a standard alignment. It shows where unified POS, the data model, and POS log all fit into this mix. It flags risks based on historical patterns. What has failed with others? It can help you be successful. And it has a gap analysis against industry benchmarks. Vendor intelligence on phase 2. So what does a vendor really do? Finding this can be a real challenge. For example, they have fragmented vendor information. They have market-driven claims without evidence. And there's no structured comparison across vendors. That's where ShopVisor comes into play. The agentic capabilities provide structured vendor profiles. You can now compare them. Pricing benchmarks and TCO indicators. The known integration issues and device compatibility history. Device compatibility is massive the more stores you have. Clause pattern recognition from prior contracts. And then community-sourced operational performance data. All of that comes together just to help you understand the vendor. The phase 3 RFP development. As noted, if you start with a blank sheet of paper, which is not unusual, you can spend well over $100,000 just putting together an RFP. And so what are the core components that are already in the ARTS RFP template? Well, there's functional and technical requirements. There's device compatibility and hardware lifecycle. Security, compliance, and data governance. That's really important in today's world. Support models and service level agreements, the pricing structure and licensing models. That's embedded in ShopVisor. So agentic automation gives you the auto-generated RFP draft that's tailored to your specific needs. It's a standard-aligned requirements libraries. That's the basis for it. Vendor-specific tailoring based on known capabilities. Do they really match what you need? And then automated completeness checks. So phase 4, evaluation and scoring. So here are the various dimensions. The technical fit and architectural alignment to your business. TCO modeling and licensing analysis. Integration complexity and risk. Roadmap alignment and vendor stability. The contract risk and SLA strength. Agentic scoring engine uses a weighted scoring model. It's evidence-based scoring justification. It's automatic red flag detection and side-by-side vendor comparison tables and scenario-based scoring, peak volume, offline, and so on. Evaluation is where bias and inconsistency creep in. Agentic scoring models apply weighted criteria, evidence-based justification, and automated red flag detection. This creates a transparent, defensible evaluation process. Now, retailers can compare vendors side by side using consistent metrics rather than subjective impressions. So we're in phase 5 now, the pilot and validation. You've got somebody that you'd like to look at. This is where theory meets reality. So the objectives are validate device compatibility, confirm transaction performance under heavy loads, test integrations across the retail stack. Does it integrate with all of the various other applications you've got? This is where ARTS comes into play. Measure operational impact and usability. So agentic support, we provide pilot test scripts and automated checklists, real-time data capture and telemetry analysis, issue classification and severity scoring, and automated pilot readiness and go, no-go recommendations. Agentic systems support this phase with automated test scripts, telemetry capture, and issue classification. Instead of relying on anecdotal feedback, retailers get structured data on performance capability and operational impact. This leads to a more confident go, no-go decision. So in phase 6, you get into now contract negotiations. Key negotiation levers. Well, the licensing model and usage rights. What are the support tiers and response times? How quickly do they respond to a problem? What's the hardware life cycle and replacement terms? What happens if your printer runs out or breaks? Roadmap commitments and upgrade paths. Penalties, service level agreements, and performance guarantees. So the agentic negotiation intelligence gives you a clause library with risk scoring, benchmark pricing and discount patterns, vendor-specific negotiation playbooks, and an automated identification of high-risk language. Are they saying something that really you can't validate? So phase 7, deployment governance. And deployment is where many projects fail. So what are the governance areas? Well, what's the rollout sequencing and store readiness? Sending the product to the store if the store doesn't know it's coming is a bad thing. Device provisioning and configuration. Do they need new printers, new scanners to make this work? Integration monitoring and exception handling. Training and change management. All new systems require somebody to be trained on how to use it. Post-deployment and performance tracking. Are they having problems with it? And where are those problems? Agentic governance gives you automatic readiness checks, gives you deployment dashboards to help you manage this, exception alerts and remediation workflows. Hey, there's a particular problem at one store. How do we fix it? Continuous vendor performance monitoring and scoring. So where does ShopVisor come in? And why does it have an unfair advantage? Because ART's standards leadership was done by the people who are creating ShopVisor. I'd like to introduce briefly the 4th member of our team, Jerry Hines. Jerry Hines we've made him the CEO of the company. He has 20 years leading large-scale consumer platforms at Amazon and NVIDIA. He pioneered GPU hardware in the cloud for AI and media. He is an incredibly talented individual, and he is going to run ShopVisor and take us to the next level. So who is Tom Sterling? Tom Sterling was the lead data architect for the Association of Retail Technology Standards. He shaped the industry most widely adopted retail data model, now in its 7th major release, and implemented by retailers including Costco, TJX, companies, AutoZone, Weiss Martin, and Giant Eagle. And there are companies all over the world that have used this data model. His work spans the full retail data lifecycle, from unified commerce and master data management to customer lifetime value analytics, promotional pricing models, and omni-channel order integration. Tom has consistently delivered measurable outcomes, including a complex multi-system Costco e-commerce integration, combining Oracle, Informatica, and DB2/400s into a single enterprise sales view, and a point-of-sale data modeling engagement for TGX that clarified integration dependencies and accelerated development timelines. Tom brings both the strategic perspective of an executive and the technical depth of a hands-on architect. He's a unique individual. His track record includes reverse engineering legacy transaction logs, building dimensional data warehouse extensions, and bringing the gap between business stakeholders and technical teams. He translates complex data integration challenges into actionable, business-justified solutions. He has also designed and delivered arts training and webinars for the data modeling teams at major retailers, with a particular focus on retail transaction processing, customer analytics, and key performance indicator sourcing. He also wrote much of the KPIs for the business intelligence work in arts. He has designed data models for loyalty programs, planogram, international tax compliance in Brazil, his stored value instruments, and customer segmentation, all grounded in real-world retail operations. He takes the data world and turns it into something really useful for the retail world.
My name is Dennis Driscoll. I have over 30 years of experience in retail technology, software development, integration, and consulting, specifically in point-of-sale and e-commerce technologies. I'm a retail guy, programmer, manager, problem solver for the companies I've worked for and with over a 40-year career. I've worked with retailers, vendors, and system integrators. It's this experience I brought to arts and has enabled me to look at problems across multiple angles. I was a member of the Arts Technical Committee from 1999 to 2015. As a member of the Technical Committee, I contributed to the data model, the OPOS, UPOS, JavaPOS standards for device drivers, and I co-authored several of the OMG Arts RFPs.
I am Richard Halter, and I was the CTO for arts for over 20 years. And so I was involved in building all of the art standards. You can see all of the various messages, the data models, the unified POS devices, the RFPs, the blueprints, integration reports, and the retail business process model. I helped build all of that. And it covers over 90% of what exists in retail and C-store and in food service environments. And to help people understand it, I wrote a book explaining all of this. And I've also created over 70 YouTube videos that are targeted at senior retail executives. I try to explain things without getting too deep into the technical things, like if you want to understand how blockchain works. It's a high-level overview of that. And I have trained major retailers and vendors all over the world. I've traveled over 1 million miles on this, and I've taught them how to solve their number one problem, integrating applications from a huge number of different vendors. Thank you for listening to this final in the series on Agentic Retail Operations, brought to you by ShopVisor. If you need more information, you can reach out to any of us as a part of this team. Thank you.